You maybe just be absolutely overwhelmed, but if you dig deep to where your soul is, you'll be able to focus and say like, okay, what is the most important thing to me? When a crisis strikes, this could be so many different things. It could be a loved one dying, it could be your house burning down, it could be a disease, it could be your wife or husband leaving you, it could be all types of things. Like you have no idea. Like it could be memories coming up from your childhood. So many of these things in life happen and we don't expect it and they're unplanned for. And it hits like a ton of bricks. It literally is like just a soul crusher. I call it like putting your soul in a wood chipper, and that's what it feels like sometimes. But what do you do in all this? There's so many places to look to get advice or guidance. There's books to go to. There's people to go to. And for me, like I pulled from all those different sources and I kind of came up with my own thing and my own way of navigating that. And I want to share that. So I've been through many crises in my life and I found myself at rock bottom many times over and over again. And it's not funny, but now I'll laugh about it for how many times it's happened. And so many times in the past, I would just panic. And panic does not lead to an organized future. What I mean by that is if I'm not doing anything, I'm just panicking and calling people and just staying focused on the wrong things, then a couple months down the road, it's like the ingredients to a pie, like they were bad ingredients. And when it comes out, it's not going to be very good. So, like in a crisis, I have learned that I have to stay disciplined and focused. And basically, what I need to do is I need to focus on where I want to be in 6 months and where I want to be in a year. So, the first guy that helped me out with a crisis, actually, in my opinion, like the first time in my life somebody seemed to truly care about me, he had me write down this thing called tracks. And basically, I spent 5 minutes writing down the way I wanted a friend to remember me 15 years after I died if that friend was telling somebody about me to remember me. And then basically, he's like, you fill in the middle of how you want to be remembered, of how you want to be. It's like, ah, cool. That helps. And he got me doing whiteboard work and got me helping me looking into the future and not just staying focused on the here and now. And that was super helpful. And so that led me down the rabbit trail of like, how can I take these things that I've learned and apply it to myself? And so I had another tragedy hit about a year ago. And it was like a ton of bricks. It was horrible. But I really sat down and I looked at the things that I had learned in the past. I looked at my life's vision and then I decided what I needed to do every day to get to the other side solid and to be building for what I want to build for my life. That will be something that helps my children and that will help many, many other people. So I chose, and this is hopefully in sharing my story to help you in a crisis. I chose to be disciplined and I chose to honor my emotions and ignore my emotions. And this was crucial. And what do I mean by that? So in the past, like I would get super upset or super depressed, and that is only natural. And I would not take action. And I would allow this, you know how we can have like this dark cloud over us for days and days, and we literally don't want to do anything. I had that dark cloud over me for months. But from listening to Jocko Willink, I learned that it's important to do it no matter how you feel. And I started doing that. I was like, okay, I'm going to take all this stuff that I've learned, and instead of just reading about it and learning about it, I'm going to actually apply it because I'd never really truly in my life thought about this stuff and how to apply it. Now, I would do it like with, let's say, camping, learning a new way to tie a knot, learning a new way to um, do tie up lines that you can put up really quick to put up a tarp, or learning how to clear a weapon, or learning how to do woodwork or stain something. Like that's different. It's like I would learn how to do it, and I could see it. But now I'm learning how to do things that don't have an immediate result. And boy, that takes patience. So this is kind of I'm kind of wanting to get into the mindset of building something that's invisible, that you don't see until way, way, way down the road. So I would have the dark cloud over me and I would not want to do anything. And from listening to David Goggins, here's what I learned in that. It's like, okay, I am going to go exercise because it takes a different version of you to get up and do something very difficult. And then it changes the course of your day. So I'm retired, medically retired, and I want to start something on my own. But I could have slept in every day when this crisis hit. I could have easily not gotten up and done this checklist because most of my tasks at that point in time were admin. And I don't like admin stuff whatsoever. So I took the David Goggins and Jocko Willink and I meshed it together. I was like, okay, I'm going to go exercise very hard every morning. And then that's going to give me the mindset of I force my body to do what it does not want to do. And then with Jocko Willink, I'm going to ignore how I feel because it gets done either way, whether I felt good about it or not. And then here was another piece of advice that I got from the first gentleman I mentioned. And this one has been playing in my mind so much lately. It's when you do something, do it well. It's such a simple phrase and it's so simple, but actually applying that in the moment is so different from just saying it. And I started applying it. I started noticing a difference of why, oh my goodness, like I am not focusing on these other things and I'm just focusing right here, right now to do good at this. And then my whole world collapses into this movement of I am doing A, B, C, D. I'm typing this or I'm cleaning this and I'm not distracted by everything else. And then when I'm finished with that task, I did good at it and I focused on it. And that changed things. So I stepped into this version of get up and train every day, not for the purpose of getting in shape, not for the purpose of looking good, not for the purpose of like taking selfies or texting anybody, because I've worked out hundreds of times and nobody knows about it. It was only for me, just to get that version that David Goggins talked about, that's willing to push your mind to do what it doesn't want to do. So when I would do that, it would shift my whole day from having to force myself to do stuff to force myself to do this one hard task for like an hour. And then everything else is easy to force my hands to do typing or to do phone calls or to do cleaning. Because in a crisis, it's really hard to do that stuff. You want to focus on what the crisis is. You want to just mope in it. You want to call people and talk about it. You want to gossip. You want to think about all these solutions. But in reality, sometimes crises or traumas, the only thing we control is ourselves. Everybody else is free to do what they want. And when we get into the mindset of like, I'm only going to control myself, they are free to do what they want, I am going to focus on my output. Well, heck, that changes everything, like tremendously. Because now instead of me wanting them to know how I feel or wanting these people to know the truth or wanting to be validated or wanting to tell the world like this horrible thing that has been done, it's like that's not going to happen. Because in most of the times when we have traumas happen to us or people do terrible things to us, we don't have a platform to get on to tell people. There is no accountability for a lot of people. And we have to realize that. And that is a really, really tough pill to swallow. It hurts. But once you grasp that reality and you step into the power of, I'm going to control myself and I'm going to start building invisibly, basically. Because in this crisis, you're still doing what needs to be done. You're still getting these tasks done. And those tasks add up over time. But one of the core things I've discovered is that it changes you. It changes you internally to a person that can ride out a storm, to a person that can look around in like chaos and focus on these silly details. And I call it silly because I don't think paperwork has anything to do with life, but at this point in society, it's necessary. So there's this time in the past that I remember where I was just in ultimate chaos for a few minutes, but I was able to focus and make it through it. So here's what had happened. Like all of a sudden there was this huge flash. I had like my ears were ringing. I couldn't see anything. And like, I didn't know what the heck was going on, but I knew I had to move. All right. So we were in training. We were at this mount site and I was playing Op 4 and we were playing against these dudes that were having to come in and like find some intel and secure a building and then leave. Our job was just to harass. And so it was just past dark and I was running from car to car, trying to take pot shots as the Op 4. And I'm sitting there hunkered down behind this car. And all of a sudden, this blinding flash goes off in front of me. It was a simulator, like a grenade simulator. And it had to have been like 3 or 4 feet away. And the ringing was so loud, I couldn't see. I was completely disoriented. But there was something deep inside of me that said, you got to move. If one went off right there, another might go off. And also, the opposing force, the Op 4, I was Op 4, but they were my Op 4. So as they came in, I was like, they know my position. I need to move. And so in that chaos, I couldn't see, I couldn't hear. I knew that I had to move my body. So I got up and I moved a little bit further. And another flashbang went off. Not flashbang, it felt like a flashbang, but it was a grenade sim. Went off right beside me. And again, I was dazed. I couldn't hear, confused, but I was focused. I was like, I have to move again. My target has been, my location has been pinpointed, so I must keep moving. So I move again. Lo and behold, bam, another one goes off. But by now, it wasn't right in front of me this time, and I was starting to regain some of my vision. But my hearing was still gone, and I start looking up because, like, where is this coming from? I didn't see anybody in any doorways. There was nobody in my immediate vicinity, and I'll look up, and there's these silhouettes on the rooftops, and there was these instructors up there chunking flashbangs down at me. Okay, I digress. They weren't flashbangs; they were grenade sims. I'm saying the wrong word. And there's nothing I could do because these dudes are like untouchable micro titans. And so I was like, fudge packer. Like, y'all suck. Like, I was like, you suck, but I kept moving. So I got out of there and I moved to another building. And just as I said that, there was this symbolism that popped in my brain of like the creator like dropping grenade sims in our life to make us move, to make us get unstuck. And sometimes it takes that for knuckleheads like me. And I don't know what their purpose was for dropping grenade sims around me. I don't know if it was see how I'd react or to get me to move from that position. But whatever it was, like I moved from that position and I got moving. But it showed me that there was something deep inside of me that could dig deep and find focus and make movement when I needed to. Because the longer you stay in a position when you're targeted, the more flak or the more attention you're going to get, the more gunfire is going to be put on that position. So if you're in a building, the enemy sees you in that building, the longer you stay there, the more they're going to rally their troops and attack you while they have you pinpointed. And so in life, when that stuff happens, like, you may be blinded, you may be having a hard time focusing, or you may, and saying blinded, that's metaphorical. And then you cling on to that and you scrape and you claw with every ounce of your being towards your objective. And it has to be this in your heart: either y'all have to kill me or I'm going to make it. There is no middle ground. You have to almost burn your bridges, in a sense of just letting them know that, like, the only way to make me stop is killing me. That's it. And so when you get to that point, you boil down all this stuff in your life and it just to the, like, most crucial thing in your life. And here's a good thing that I use in my mind when I feel like I'm all alone and I am just struggling by myself, but I'm taking that next step. And that next step is that when I'm training, I imagine that I'm in the desert outside of a castle or some desert fortification 400, 500 years in the past. And they have my family in there. And I'm a one man army, basically. As in, like, I'm the last person that gives a crap. And I'm the last person that's not going to quit. So I imagine that I'm outside this fortification training and training and training for the day when I'm ready to try again, to get in there to get my family. And when you boil down, like, what's the most crucial thing to you? Like, you find a drive inside of you in the chaos. And when you start listening to the voices that are wise and applying what they say in the chaos, you start to see structure emerge. And then when you're visualizing where you want to be in a year, you start building your days. And so imagine your days are like solid bricks, and the wall you're building is a wall to the future or a bridge to the future. And you have to have these solid bricks, and those bricks can only be built through discipline and resiliency. But the days that you just lay around and do nothing, that's a marshmallow in your wall or in your bridge. It will collapse down the road because we repeat cycles. So we get down there, let's say we have our bridge built. It's a year down the road and we're pretty solid. But then all of a sudden a little thing comes up and we go back to one of those marshmallow days. Like, that's a flaw in that bridge, and that bridge can collapse. That's the way I think about it. So this is just me kind of freestyling. I can't believe I said that, but I'm just trying to share with you my mindset and what has gotten me through really difficult situations. And in my hopes that you hear this and it helps you. Because we all go through stuff. Sometimes we can bear it silently, and sometimes we have the support we need. And sometimes that support is just one sentence. And this hit me the other day really hard. It's like one solid sentence phrased right at the right time can change the course of somebody's life. Man, that's power. Like, the power in somebody's words. So it's like, that's where the magic is, those words. And so I will wrap it up with this. I had a first sergeant tell me this one time, that you can always look down the road and see somebody doing worse than you. And that phrase put things in perspective for me when I'm going through a tough time, because I can look around, look at my assets, look at my resources, and realize, like, there's somebody 10,000 times worse than I am right now. And I'm very blessed. And I just want to encourage you. I don't know who you are, or where you are, or what you're going through, but I want you to know you can make it through it. It's going to suck. It's going to be difficult. And I'm not going to sugarcoat it. like is going to leave scars on your heart and in your soul. But on the other end of this, who do you want to be? Like, this is going to make you or break you. And I want to encourage you to let it make you. And that's like part of the whole reason I have this channel, is to help people and encourage people through their dark days. And that's why I teach what I teach. And that's why I keep doing this. I don't know how many people watch this, but if it's just one person that gets encouragement, that's enough for me. Roadhouse, Spiritual Hard.